like that. Wakawa, you will introduce the speaker. Yes, we are almost there. Wakawa, you are about to introduce the speaker. Okay, Wakawa.
All right.
Yeah. Introduce the speaker.
Good morning.
Yes.
Okay. Must say good morning to our host. Good morning, distinguished audience. You're welcome to this episode. Today we have an expert also in the area of avian influenza. We'll be discussing a very interesting topic, a topic that has been actually affecting the realities of poultry practice, most especially.
Yeah, it's having a network glitch and glitch.
Hello?
Yeah, you were down, baby. You come up.
Oh, okay.
Just be fast so that
we'll be discussing about the low pathogenic avian influenza H9N2, which we know it has become widespread. It has become widespread and it's a persistent threat to poultry worldwide. It's among the most prevalent avian influenza subtypes in poultry, and it's also known to cause human infections that is characterized by mild respiratory illnesses. So Dr. Lukman Muftau is a poultry veterinarian with a specialization in avian pathology. Dr. Lukman is vastly experienced. He's with the Olam hatcheries and is also has a lot of exposure in laboratory diagnosis. He has traveled far and wide. He has attended both national and international workshops and conferences. And presently, he's a member of the Ministerial Technical Committee on the Control of Avian Influenza in Nigeria. So Dr. Lukman is also a visiting lecturer in Bayero University, Kano. Today he's going to share his experiences on low pathogenic avian influenza H9N2 as it affects our poultry in Nigeria. Without wasting much time, I'll call on Dr. Lukman to go ahead and start. Dr. Lukman.
Thank you very much, Prof. Good morning, distinguished colleagues. I have been introduced. My name is Lukman Muftau Oyedeji, just to make it full. Every day we come across millions of chicken that are raised in Nigeria, traded and consumed. And this has become a lifeline for our economy and food security. But beneath this vibrant industry, a silent intruder is spreading. The new sheriff is arriving. The low pathogenic avian influenza, the H9N2 subtype, has arrived. Unlike its deadly cousin, the H5N1 that we are very much familiar with, the H9N2 does not announce itself, of course, with the mass mortality that is characterized by the high pathogenicity avian influenza. Instead, it creeps quietly, reducing egg production, weakening flock immunity, and also causing a very significant public health risk. So today, together, we'll journey through these very hidden threats. And do I have the opportunity to share my slides, sir?
Yes, you do. At our pleasure.
So let me begin. Is my slide visible?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
just
if
a
you are
minute.
not, would have really given it to us to help you.
Just a minute. I think we're getting there.
That's okay. Okay.
We can see it now.
Yes, we
Okay,
are
great.
seeing it. Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Great. So today together, we'll look at the low pathogenic avian influenza virus of the H9N2 subtype. As you all know, the avian influenza virus is caused by a virus belonging to the family Otomyxoviridae. This is a virus that is endemic in poultry and other wild birds. Of course, the natural host is known to be wild waterfalls and seabirds, but spillover to poultry is becoming finding. I mean, is becoming uh, a common finding across the world. And beyond poultry, this virus, I mean, the avian influenza virus is spilling over to numerous other host species. Avian influenza generally is classified into the high pathogenicity and the low pathogenicity viruses. And well, I'll just go on to the main thing. This is a gathering of scientists, so I will not bother us with these basic details. We are very much familiar with the high pathogenicity avian influenza because it has been with us, causing dreaded outbreaks since 2005, 2006. Well, the low pathogenic subtype is emerging. And so much attention has been on the high pathogenicity avian influenza virus that the low pathogenicity virus go almost unnoticed by professional, I mean, veterinarians and government. This virus subtype, the low pathogenic avian influenza of the H9N2 subtype, has been known to constitute a serious threat to the health of poultry for a very long time. Here, I have a list of poultry diseases that are common across many parts of the world. And the low pathogenic avian influenza just ranked third, you know, even more economically important than our very common Newcastle disease and Gumboro disease. That is to tell you how important this virus has been identified to be. Looking at the epidemiology, this virus was first identified in Wisconsin in the United States of America in 1966. From there, of course, the virus spread across the world and it has become endemic in many parts of the world. The phylogenetic analysis of the hemagglutinin glycoprotein genes split this virus into two major groups, the American lineage and the Eurasian lineage. The American lineage is endemic in wild birds and is found across the world, while the Eurasian lineage is more adapted to poultry, and usually it is found around the Asia, the Middle East, and the north and western part of Africa. I have a small map here that shows the spread of the Eurasian subtype particularly. Am I heard, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that shows the spread of the Eurasian lineage particularly. This virus, the distribution of this virus go together with the migratory route of wild birds. So based on this, it is inferred that wild birds have a significant role in the dissemination of this virus. The virus is believed to emerge in Hong Kong, from where it spread to China and Japan. And from China, it's is distributed to the other part of the Asia, to the Middle East, and then to the North Africa, from where it spread to other part of the Western Africa. This is the global overview of the distribution of this virus with the different lineages of the virus captured. In Africa, the virus was first reported in Morocco in 2016, and then within a span of 3 to 4 years, most other West African and East African countries reported the H9N2 at least in either wild birds or in the live bird market. We have a list of the countries that has reported this disease, and this list is growing. In Nigeria, this virus was first confirmed in the live bird market in 2019. The isolated virus was found to belong to the G1 lineage, and this is the same virus that clustered with this, that belongs to the same cluster with the viruses in other West African regions where the virus was detected, as well as the East Africa to the Middle East and to Asia. This virus often is detected in apparently healthy birds, which usually show that the virus live under a subclinical condition. Of course, in 2020, spillover to commercial farm was started trooping in. Before this period, cases of H9N2, clinical cases of H9N2 were not reported in Nigeria, although some serological evidences of the presence of the virus were detected in some commercial farms and poultry farmers, but the virus was never isolated until in 2020, where clinical cases of this virus was reported in some commercial farms in Kaduna and Kano. And after this period, numerous other cases have been reported, and this has become a routine as we speak. Now, what is the clinical picture like? And this is where the biggest challenge is for the field veterinarians. Early this week, I was in Ibadan, and I met a very, very good veterinarian, a very good one, a poultry veterinarian. And as we get discussing, he told me that what we are facing currently is cases of vaccine failure. I say, wow, this is a very, very big term. Can he tell us more about it? And he told us that birds always come down with Newcastle disease despite these birds being vaccinated. And many a times, the birds come down a few days after vaccination. The clinical manifestation begin with inappetence. The production usually crash, as seen in the graph depicted here. Production of almost 90% crashing to about 40%, and this will go on for a few weeks. Usually, these birds manifest respiratory distress and greenish feces, and all these lesions point towards Newcastle disease as far as this veterinarian is concerned. And this is the same story that we reported in 2020 and then subsequently. And I told him, brother, have you diagnosed the low pathogenic avian influenza of the H9N2 subtype recently? And he started staring at me, because this is an apparently new name as far as he is concerned. So the presentation of this virus is typically that of Newcastle disease, showing almost all the characteristics of the Newcastle disease outbreak. The only addition that we see that is common with this virus is peritonitis in addition. And as we'll see very soon, this virus, when present alone, usually cause very mild clinical disease, or many a times it even go unnoticed. But when in combination with other infectious agent or other conditions, then the mutual conspiracy theory, of course, comes up. Here we look at the presence of this virus alone. In this graph, in this purple graph, here you see when the respiratory mucosa was assessed, the clinical score is very low. But in combination with infection with Escherichia coli, you see that the clinical score became very, very high. And this is typical of the manifestation of the combination of H9N2 with E. coli and exactly many other infectious agents, especially those that cause respiratory diseases, particularly Newcastle disease and infectious bronchitis. Here, we try to look at the interaction of H9N2 with other infectious agents that cause respiratory diseases. And it has been established that infectious bronchitis is the virus that brings about the greatest impact when present together with the H9N2 virus in the same host, especially in laying birds. In broilers, the manifestation is not different. Usually, severe chronic respiratory distress is manifested, and usually this will persist without any improvement, despite all approaches to treat, many a times with antibiotics. And usually this is where our colleagues get it wrong, because the focus is basically on the use of antibiotics to treat all kinds of respiratory infection. The mutual conspiracy continue under other climatic condition like high density, poor ventilation. It was reported that the damages to the respiratory mucosa is quite high when the H9N2 subtype of this virus is present under this microclimatic condition. Here, just 7 days post-infection or post-challenge with the H9N2 subtype, we have a very high histological score of the trachea, and very low in control birds that were exposed to the same condition, but without being challenged with the virus. Under slightly high environmental temperature, just about 2-degree rise in temperature, the situation is not different. The histological score become quite higher when birds are subjected to, when birds exposed to H9N2 are subjected to slightly high ambient temperature. And that is why around here in Nigeria, around the period of March and April, when the temperature becomes very high, we have the highest rate of this outbreaks from this virus being reported. Of course, the chances of the virus being detected under a field condition is quite high when the ambient temperature is high compared to when the ambient temperature is friendly. This virus does not affect only poultry or livestock. It also has a very significant public health significance. It is known for the donation of its genetic material to other influenza viruses, including viruses that cause high pathogenic avian influenza. So the donation of genetic material usually results in reassortment which could result in the development of a more virulent influenza virus. The case of H9N6, the emergence of H9N6 is a very good example in Nigeria. This virus has been found to contain the genetic material that mostly belong to the H9N2 virus. So based on this this potential, this virus is considered as, is considered to have the potential to cause the next influenza pandemic. So far, about 125 cases of human infection has been documented in different countries that are stated here, and 2 deaths have been recorded attributed to infection with H9N2 in human. So the virus is becoming a very big public health threat. How do we control this virus? Biosecurity is the key thing. Of course, biosecurity ensures that the introduction of the virus into the poultry flock is halted. In addition to this, measures to decrease the load of the virus has to be in place. This include all best husbandry practices, including the right stocking density, ventilation, temperature, humidity, air quality control, litter management, and so on. All these factors, especially that place load on the respiratory mucosa, has to be taken care of to reduce the impact of this virus. The third way to control this virus is to get rid of the virus, especially in endemic areas. And practices including all out extensive cleaning and disinfection, the observance of downtime after clean out, and many other practices ensure that this virus is eliminated before replacement stock are placed in the farm. What are the challenges in Nigeria? One of the major challenges we have in Nigeria is surveillance. We don't even have exactly, we don't have enough information or knowledge of what we have circulating in this country because of the weak surveillance network. Surveillance is expected or is supposed to be a routine activity, but because of probably paucity of funding, it is usually a sporadic activity. Early this year, led by Professor Okawa, surveillance was conducted in the wetland, the live bird markets, and in some poultry farms in Nigeria to hunt for the presence of this H9N2 subtype. And you will be surprised that this virus was detected in all locations where it was sought for, and the prevalence is mind-blowing. Early detection and disease reporting is a major challenge for us in Nigeria. Of course, the practices in poultry farms, which include multi-age poultry system, which encourage the circulation and survival of this virus, is practiced in almost every part of the country. We have the live bird market that is considered the hotspot of this virus, scattered all over this country. In most part of this country, people prefer to go to the market and buy live chicken and then slaughter this live chicken in their houses. This increases the chances of this virus getting access to human. In the live bird market, you have birds of different types from different locations coming together. And of course, this increase the chances of the introduction and dissemination of the H9N2, as well as other avian influenza viruses. So something has to be done on this live bird market to reduce the risk associated with this virus in this location. Veterinary extension services. We have a lot of veterinarians, probably not quite much, especially in the public space, but many a times these professionals are not empowered. We also have the para-veterinarians and the community animal health workers who could be empowered to support the animal health workforce to ensure that diseases are diagnosed and reported on timely basis. Limited diagnostic capacity is another major thing. The NVRI is the only laboratory with the full capacity to diagnose all subtypes of avian influenza virus in Nigeria. I believe that this laboratory is overwhelmed. And another problem is will I call it the issue of trust or the confidence that farmers have in the laboratory or their desire to report diseases to government laboratories. This will reduce the amount of samples getting to the NVRI laboratory, and this will reduce the amount of information they will probably have about what is going on in poultry farms across the country. The way forward is to strengthen the surveillance network to improve biosecurity across all levels in all kinds of poultry farms, and to probably consider vaccination. Vaccination against H9N2 is a popular practice across different parts of the world where this virus is endemic. A very good lesson can be learned from Israel, from Morocco, from Belarus, from Russia, and currently India, where this virus has become a very serious menace and the use of vaccine has been very, very successful. Another way to improve the situation is to empower veterinarians, who of course are the frontline actors in the fight against avian influenza, both the high pathogenicity, the low pathogenicity, and other diseases across the nation. In conclusion, H9N2 is already established in Nigeria since 2019. And the fact that it's endemic cannot be disputed. This virus continues to spread silently, and the economic and zoonotic risk, of course, will continue to grow. Early action is very, very critical to ensure that we are able to control this virus before it writes its own story by itself. The veterinarians must lead this struggle to control this virus, both based on its economic impact on poultry farmers and on the public health potentials that it has in human. Thank you very much all for listening.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Lukman, for a very insightful and informative presentation. I believe the audience will agree with me that this disease has become a serious threat. And as you have rightly mentioned, many of our veterinary colleagues tend to confuse this disease with Newcastle disease because of its nature, with low mortality rate, silent circulation within the flock, and reduced egg production. This disease is present in this country, and it has become endemic in both backyard and commercial flocks. The virus, as you have mentioned, is particularly of concern due to its role in providing internal gene segments for other HPI viruses that can cause severe human infections and also poultry infections, making understanding its global circulation crucial for both animal and public health. And as a take-home here, the key points here are surveillance and biosecurity. And I must mention here that surveillance efforts by the federal government of Nigeria through the Office of the Minister is ongoing. The Minister has set up a technical committee which actually conducted that surveillance on the H9N2 in some specific hotspots, the result of which will be disclosed by the government and then decisions taken appropriately. And so adequate biosecurity also is key. So at this point, we will now open the floor for questions and contributions, please.
Yeah. Eloka, who is Eloka? Please allow Eloka to speak. It looks like she's an avian canine physician. Eloka, please, you have the floor. Eloka.
Is Iloka trying to speak?
She raised her hand, so.
Good morning.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, good morning. Good morning to the participants and the hosts. Please, I have listened to your discourse, and you said that one of the recommendation is to encourage vaccination, but for against avian influenza. Now, my question is, what do you have to say that in Nigeria now, we know that we don't really have a policy on national serosurveillance for avian influenza, latent avian influenza antigen in Nigeria. So now, going ahead to vaccinate, don't you think that it will encourage antigenic variation, adaptation, and then you now have emergence of new strain of avian influenza? That is when we vaccinate without really knowing circulating strain of avian influenza circulating in our domain. Thank you.
Dr. Lukman, you'd like to respond to that?
Lukman,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for the question. First of all, I want to guarantee that the federal government, or through the Ministry of Livestock Development, is becoming very, very proactive in surveillance on avian influenza generally. And it is also important for us to, so of course, based on this ongoing activity, a lot of information, is in the archive of the, especially National Veterinary Research Institute, as far as the circulating strains of avian influenza viruses are concerned in Nigeria. And this work is still ongoing. And I can tell you that as much as is happening, is documented in NVRI. But it is also important for us to understand that there's a need to draw a line between the high pathogenicity avian influenza viruses and the low pathogenicity avian influenza viruses. The recommendation, of course, just a recommendation, is to vaccinate against the low pathogenic avian influenza of the H9N2 subtype, which has become endemic in Nigeria. Of course, if you look at the map I projected earlier, that was in 2019. As at today, most of the countries surrounding Nigeria already report endemicity, in some hyper-endemicity of the H9N2 subtype. So the virus is here. The virus is interacting with other viruses present. The virus is probably also adapting other hosts. So something has to be done to stop, the dissemination of this virus. And one of the measures that has been successful in other parts of the world is to vaccinate against the H9N2 subtype. Most of the countries vaccinating against the H9N2 subtype don't vaccinate against the high pathogenicity avian influenza viruses, like the H5 subtype particularly. So the recommendation, as far as this presentation is concerned, is precisely to look into the, vaccination against H9N2, which has become hyperendemic in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much. I must also mention here that vaccination is used, while vaccination is used in some countries to mitigate the economic impact of this H9N2, as far as Nigeria is concerned, no any approval or no any official communique on vaccination has been released yet at the moment. Exactly. So we have to be mindful on that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Please, we have Professor Ike Chukwuibokwe. Maybe he can pep up the talk a bit. Please.
Okay.
Please, with strong permission. Professor Ike Chukwuibokwe is a senior vet, almost the most senior vet. I don't know Mariam, I'm seeing Mohammed, whether it's the immediate past NVRI executive director.
Please, if you want to talk, you can raise your hand so that we can just click on you.
Yeah, Ike Chukwuibokwe, sir.
Okay.
Do you have any?
He wants to say something.
Yeah, I think he should say something. He's the most
Okay.
senior vet here and most experienced, I guess. Ikechukwu Igbokwe, is he around?
Yeah, it's still on.
He's around, but he's not talking. Maybe anyway. Wakawa, continue.
Oh, okay. So, do we have any other person that has a contribution or he wants to ask a question?
Let me at this point advise that this video is trapped in YouTube for those who are looking for recording. We know what we are doing. It's in YouTube, and we will circulate the YouTube channel, which most of you have been watching us might have known. And please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, share it or some other poultry channels or poultry platforms, and so that we can learn from it.
Okay.
So please. So Wakawa, you can continue before we.
Okay.
But
I think
at this end, I
Dr.
don't know whether Dr. Mariam is here, the executive director of immediate
I
past.
saw her name. Yeah, she's there.
Yeah, immediate past director of MVRI. Does she have anything to say? So she can, as an experienced veterinarian too, does she have anything to say?
Dr. Shamsuddin, do you have anything to say?
Dr. Sam Sudin, but before then, we have Dr. Chang Mbafo from Cameroon. Is here with us. Dr. Pakashi DVS Kaduna is here with us. Professor Ibukwe, we have just announced his name, is here with us because his name has popped up. We have catalogs of our colleagues that are here. Anyway, while rounding up, I have one or two things to say. But Wakawa,
Okay, sir. Before then, sir, Dr. Lukman mentioned something that is very important. Most poultry farms, when they vaccinate against Newcastle disease, especially the Lasota, after a few days or weeks, they will still have an outbreak. And yet, they will still revaccinate or treat. And then all this while, they will be thinking that they are dealing with Newcastle disease, not knowing that they are dealing with the H9N2. And at this point, I would like to mention that it's very important when you have this scenario in your farm, it's best you send samples to clear your doubt that you're not dealing with this H9N2, because it's a silent killer. It spreads silently within a flock. The mortality rate is very low, and it can impact negatively on egg production. The respiratory are just very mild. You think it's the respiratory form of Newcastle disease. So it's a very silent killer, which we have to be vigilant of. Dr. Shamsuddin, you want to say something?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Dr. Lukman, for an insightful presentation. I still like there's a lot of emphasis on surveillance, which is good.
Yeah.
But from the farmer's perspective, I would like to think that perhaps when that paper from the government eventually comes out based on the result of the surveillance, we should think about how we can support massive awareness creation at the level of the farmers, so they would know that there's something else that, other than what we think is Newcastle or the highly pathogenic avian influenza, because the bottom line at the end is how are we going to help farmers, prevent these losses, especially because this is a side like classically they may be losing in terms of production.
Yes.
And then they wouldn't ascribe it to this. So I think there's a place for massive awareness at the level of the farmers, and the role of veterinarians, veterinary paraprofessionals, and community animal health workers cannot be overemphasized. So please, the committee, even though you are not speaking for the committee here, I would like to advise that there should be a lot of investment in awareness at the farmers. Thank you.
Dr. Temi Ibrahim, I think Wakawa.
Dr. Temi, it's good to see you on board. Temi is my student. Temi, do you have something to say?
Temi, yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. How?
Thank
You
you
have
very
something
much
to
for
contribute?
I have a question.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. And I particularly want to thank my boss, Dr. Lukman, for the very insightful presentation. Okay, on the field, actually, most farmers, they usually sell off the birds when they come to test for the avian influenza and they notice birds are already down with it. Despite the advice you give them on how to go about it, most of them go about selling it, and it encourages the spread of the virus more and more, because the way birds are being sold out, they transport them from one area to the other, and that contributes to the spread in the community. So my question is, how do we go about this? Because since the governments are not actually compensating farmers, or there is no way that they can be compensated because of what is happening in the country. So what is the way out?
Okay, Dr. Lukman.
Compensation has proven to be, according to government sources, have proven to become unsustainable. So what I think is that, like Dr. Shamsu suggested, there is a need for massive awareness. That is number one. But more importantly, I think governments and government veterinarians need to take the lead here. Early detection and warning, I think, is one major thing that the government need to strengthen through surveillance. If surveillance is regular, early detection of these viruses will be there, and then farmers will be warned to step up biosecurity to ensure that these viruses do not get into their farms. And I believe that this usually applies to the high pathogenicity avian influenza outbreaks. But it is also important to note that sometimes farmers sell their birds out of panic, even when they have these low pathogenicity avian influenza viruses, being complicated by other, especially respiratory infections that usually do not respond to medication. We have intervened in some situations where you have the low pathogenic virus at the background, and then you have other infection together with this low pathogenic virus. And then all efforts to control the infection becomes very, very difficult. From the literature, I also saw that there was a case in Ghana, probably the first case of the low pathogenic that was reported in Ghana, caused very, very high mortality because of comorbidity with other respiratory infection. And they were tempted to stamp out, of course, that was what happened, to stamp out, depopulate the entire farm. But eventually it was realized that this virus is the low pathogenic H9N2 subtype. So number one, I think, like we said earlier, surveillance has to be strengthened. Early detection and warning, of course, is a very important thing that government has to put in place. And then massive awareness creation is very important to empower farmers with the knowledge that selling their sick birds will just aid in putting their co-farmers in more trouble. So I think once this is done, together with other measures that is highlighted on the screen, particularly biosecurity, things will hopefully improve.
Okay, and I think there's a very important comment by Dr. Shamsuddin here that he said, in addition, this situation further underscores the importance of promoting the use of diagnostic laboratories. Many of our private laboratories are underutilized. Starting from the way, we need to lead by example by incorporating laboratory diagnostics, screening in our routine practice. And I think this is true. There's a serious need to utilize our laboratories to always clear our doubts, especially with this H9N2. As regards to this compensation, I think the policy only applies to the highly pathogenic avian influenza that is characterized by very high mortality within a short time. For this low pathogenic, I doubt if there's a policy on it for now. Even though there was a recorded case of low pathogenic avian influenza that was characterized by high mortality, but investigation later showed that there was co-infection with another severe virus of Newcastle disease. So I think it's good to know that.
Yeah. Eloka, I think Eloka is raising his hand.
Okay. Dr.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, Iboko is back.
Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, sir. I have a question, two questions really to ask and a clarification. Yeah,
Okay.
you said the low pathogenic that vaccination is not really required. Does it mean that one can just go ahead and treat, the animal recovers, and then you sell off? Because I also know that low pathogenic can mutate, especially when it comes in contact with pathogenic strain or circulating strain. It can also mutate and become pathogenic. So at what point do ones draw the line as per vaccination against low pathogenic in areas where it is permitted in this case? That is one. Secondly, the national policy for control of avian influenza in Nigeria stipulates that only farms with over 3,000 beds that has outbreak of avian influenza will be compensated. Of course, we know that the policy, the population, disinfection, the contamination and compensation of farmers. Now, what now happens to farmers that has lower number of beds, maybe 2,000, that they have outbreak of avian influenza? I think this is what drives them to start selling off, because they know, some of them also know that if they report or after doing the depopulation, that they might end up not being compensated because they have lower number of beds. And some will even go as far as inflating figures to suit the bracket of fitting into compensation, thereby leading to capital loss in the form of for government. So what do you have to say about this, sir? Thank you.
Well, I think a very important scenario is playing out here. Despite the fact that this presentation is on the low pathogenic avian influenza virus, we digress into the high pathogenicity avian.
Exactly.
And this exactly has been a major problem globally. There is the attention on the high pathogenicity avian influenza mask, at the attention that the low pathogenicity avian influenza virus desire. And this virus go silently. I can tell you that this H9N2 subtype is the most successful of all influenza viruses that we have currently, because it has gotten to every part of the world, either, in wild birds, in the wild bird adapted lineages, or in those lineages that are adapted to commercial poultry. Now, to also clarify a little, of course, I'm not supposed to, the issue of compensation is a government issue. The government people are supposed to talk about it. But just to clarify, compensation is for, the policy stated that compensation is for people who own 3,000 birds and below, not and above. Okay, 3,000 and above. Anybody with birds above 3,000 is encouraged to insure his birds, so that if anything goes wrong, the insurance can support him to come back to business. So compensation is meant for the smallholder poultry farmers, or relatively smallholder poultry farmers. The problem now is, when was the last time that compensation was paid? And this is exactly what discouraged even the smallholder farmers from reporting, because they are aware that those that suffered this outbreak that reported in over 7 years ago have not been compensated up till today. So some of them felt that compensation is not feasible. So they decided to go ahead to reduce their loss by selling the birds. And this is one of the grievous, the biggest problem that we have today as far as the spread of influenza virus is concerned in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Okay.
Professor Ibokwe.
Go ahead.
Professor Ibokwe, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Charles.
No, Dr. Lukman.
Okay. Okay. That's himself. As we were talking, a number of questions just came up in my mind, and I needed to clarify what needs to be done in a situation where there is an outbreak. We also need to clarify these things in one by one itemized fashion, so that those who will come across this video will be able to know what to do step by step from the beginning to the end. It's important that farmers understand this.
It's done. It's done on the video already. He did a wonderful job on it. Honestly.
I stepped out for a while, so
don't worry. You watch the video. Don't worry. It's trapped. The video is trapped in YouTube. Don't worry.
Good. What I wanted to know is when we have a low pathogenic strain infection that biosecurity could not keep away from the farm, and there is low egg production, is there any possibility that they will recover? And when they recover, there will be a rebound of egg laying and egg production. Can the egg production also come back to normal as it was previously before the outbreak? That's the question I want to be enlightened.
Okay. Dr. Lukman, would you like to respond to that?
Yeah, I will attempt, sir.
Okay.
So, yeah, from our experience working with farmers with confirmed cases of H9N2, the success rates of the treatment depend on the management of the secondary pathogen or factors that are associated with this infection. So usually, if it is a case of Newcastle disease, being a secondary factor to the low pathogenic avian influenza virus, we treat symptomatically. So usually if the respiratory, or let me say in almost all cases, the presentation come with respiratory distress. And this is the first thing we do to address the respiratory distress. Once the respiratory distress is addressed, then usually appetite begins to return to normal. And once we notice that, we support with multivitamins and other immune boosters to ensure that the birds, to accelerate recovery. What we do basically is to manage the respiratory health. This usually is our first step. We suspend every other thing, focus on the management of respiratory health. And once this is successful, then you are almost guaranteed that the birds will recover. Many a times, birds that are producing of course, it depends on the age of the birds at the time of infection. If the birds are just at the peak of their production when they were infected, then it will be difficult for them to return back to that peak production. Usually, they return with about 5% below the peak production. And then usually this is sustained for a long time. If they are slightly older birds post-peak, then they might return back to the status they were before the outbreak. So what is just important based on what we have seen so far is the management of respiratory health, and then followed by the management of other symptomatic presentation. One thing we have also noticed is that if infectious coryza is the secondary pathogen, then the birds don't usually return back to the status they were at the time when they were hit. They are usually more than 20% below the status they were before the outbreak. So in a nutshell, this is our experience, and that has been our approach.
Yeah. In addition, I've had a practical experience in Kano of a flock that had this H9N2. The flock was able to recover, but it never went back to its peak production. And the danger is that same flock was shedding the virus, unfortunately. So you can see a matter of concern here. And we have, it has been mentioned that this H9N2 is a generous donor of gene segments to other avian influenza viruses. So the potential for the emergence of a new, more dangerous strain through the genetic reassortment of this H9N2 and other viruses is there. So it's really a big problem. And it's important to note that in some countries, vaccination is used. But in Nigeria, we are still yet to start using the vaccine, for your information. Any other comment?
Thank you, Wakawa. If there's any comment, I will just round up.
Yes.
Is there any comment? Okay. If we look at the other parallel specialist areas in veterinary practice, he said that you see that Savan has taken the lead. Most of all these things we discuss here, if like lab, kits, surveillance, management, disease management, information, knowledge, you can see that Savan had gone a lot, had covered a lot of miles. And meanwhile, the challenges in small animal practice are far less than the challenges in poultry practice. So where I'm driving now, that we need a rainbow. Okay, just a bit. We need a practice rainbow in poultry. I did my fellowship in poultry. I think that I can talk and then talk confidently about poultry. And then if we crystallize our ideas by coming together, we'll be able to fix a lot of things in the poultry sector and then enjoy the poultry sector. The poultry sector is booming, but it has a lot of challenges. About this biosecurity of fish. And when we talk about biosecurity, and you know that there are the ones beyond the control. You can't stop birds from flying around your farm. It's very, very difficult. But the ones that can manage within, you can manage them within. So we need, in 2002, I attended the first World Poultry Veterinary Association, and then in 2000 in Egypt, Cairo. In 2000 and when was that? 2003, yes, because that one was the one on Egypt was supposed to be in 2001. You know, it's 2 years, but because of the 9/11, they moved it to January 2002. 2003 again in Denver and Colorado, I attended, and then the one they had 2 or 3 years ago behind me here in Edinburgh, I attended. That's World Veterinary Poultry Association, and the urge now is to have for each unit, each country to have its own poultry veterinary association. In that case, you'll be able to crystallize out your problems and address them. Nobody address your problem apart from yourself. And some of us in poultry practice. And then when we were, myself and late Bayo and Malgui, 3 of us represented Nigeria, attended from Nigeria in Cairo in 2002. We are seeing that we said that was for the first time in my life I heard about this low pathogenic avian influenza. As at that time started ravaging the world. As at 2002. And come and see masterclass, first class seminar, first class scientific session delivery. And Professor Wakawa, there's something I wanted to you. Muftau If
Yes.
look and Google the next you're having, sorry, World Poultry Veterinary Association. Google where.
The
If you're
next
able
one
to,
is in Malaysia. The next one is in Malaysia.
good. If you're able to submit like Boala did in Edinburgh when he was tidying up his PhD in South Africa. If you are able to present an accepted paper, abstract, they will pay for your accommodation, pay for your transport, give you pocket money because the world wants to hear, they want to learn. And there are a lot of companies, top class poultry, whatever, poultry drug and poultry medication industries and pharmaceuticals. And then the equipment, who are equipment manufacturers who are really sponsoring this program. There is money. But the thing is that how can we adapt them here? The information, flying globally, how do we adapt it in this country? If you look at Savan now, you see the emphasis now is on test kits. Every private veterinary clinic having test kits, because they were able to come together. Let us come together. I am one of your members. I am not in small animal. Maybe because I'm afraid of dogs biting me. I mean, if chicken peck me, I will enjoy myself. I have had my farm in Maramara Damishi village until bandits pursued me out of there. Instead of my life and poultry, I have to choose my life. So please, let us see how, Muftau, please. Maybe when I come back to Kaduna, I live in Kaduna, we can sit in Wakawa's office. The last I went to his office, he lavishly entertained me, so I can go back there again.
You have 3 hands. I think we need to give them opportunity.
Yes, we'll give them opportunity.
Where
Where is those hands coming? Because I'm lifting up the knowledge.
Anyway, no, sir. Ekechukwu, sir.
Yes.
Let's give,
yes, you can talk
yes,
before I round up.
Then after Ekechukwu, Habiba will talk.
Yeah, and then you have Yusuf. Okay.
Please make it brief. Yes, sir.
Okay, Oga, Prophecy Bokwe. Unmute yourself, sir.
I raised my hand because something was said about vaccination. And I understand that vaccination is not permitted. But in the field, a lot of those who have large flocks of birds laying vaccinate their birds. I don't know whether we are aware of this. The vaccines are in the country, and they are getting the vaccines for themselves, and they are vaccinating their birds. At least to protect, because they don't want an outbreak. So is the vaccination effective? Are they, is it still permitted, or is there anything that is being done to prevent vaccination from taking place? One, the second one is for diagnostics, for diagnostic purposes. Where are we going to submit samples? Which samples are going to be collected, and which laboratories are available, private and public laboratories that can help this diagnostics? So this is just for those who might be interested in getting this information and making use of them in their plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. You have asked very valid questions.
Let's get all the questions together. Then,
so I think it's better we respond quickly to them one at a time.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Unfortunately, we have very few laboratories that have the capacity in terms of material resources. But for those that have, I think you can even waybill some of your samples. I know Olam has a lab. I know there are other diagnostic, Vetco has, and so many. I know in CHI, they have this laboratory. There are many of them in the Southwest. So when you get samples, you can waybill it to them for this diagnosis of the H9N2. As for the vaccines in circulation, yes, sir. There are many vaccines that are illegally illegal and are in circulation. Some of them are monovalent, some are bivalent, some are even polyvalent. I have seen an avian influenza vaccine that contains the H5N1, H7N9, and H9N2. I've seen it in this country. So there are illegal vaccines that are in circulation. But we just hope and believe by the time government finish their work, they will clamp down on them and do something.
Okay,
Yes,
Habiba.
Habiba.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, all. Well done, Dr. Lukman and everyone. Sorry, the network kept throwing me out, so I've been in and out most of the time. So I don't know if this particular question was addressed.
Okay.
The live bird market is considered a potential breeding ground for the transmission of AI. I don't know if any attempt or effort has been made in elimination of the disease with regards to activities being carried out in the live bird market. And has any success been recorded?
Dr. Lukman, quickly respond to that.
Okay, so to the best of my knowledge, I know that some states are making efforts to ensure that the live bird market is operated in the most hygienic possible way, and in a way that keep birds of different types and age in segregation. I know Kaduna State is doing that. And part of what Kaduna State does is from time to time invite the live bird market vendors to discuss their problems and enlighten them on the risk associated with the nature of their business. So this I'm sure of in Kaduna State. I don't know what is happening in other part of the country, but I believe if this is done everywhere, it will reduce the risk that the live bird market pose to the poultry industry and to public health. Just to add to the earlier question on diagnostics, currently there are only 2 laboratories in Nigeria that are equipped to diagnose the low pathogenic H9N2, the NVRI lab and the Olam lab in Kaduna. Because this H9N2 is becoming a serious problem, other laboratories are really coming up. And I believe before the end of this year, the CHI lab will be fully equipped with the capacity. The animal care laboratories network will also be equipped with the capacity to diagnose this. So this will add to the number of laboratories that have this ability. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Nangchak, is it Chank Mbafo? Just when we are rounding up now, it's becoming interesting. Where were you all this while? Dr. Nchang, you want to speak? Dr. Mbafo? Can you unmute yourself? Okay, Dr. Yusuf.
Yes.
Quickly, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
To appreciate the presentation because it was really brilliant and highly educative. I wish to find out, since you talk about biosecurity measures, and in Cameroon, some of these birds are produced in one region and transported to the market in another region. So I wish to find out what are the biosecurity measures we can take or put in place when these birds have to move from one region to the other for sales.
Wow.
Thank you, sir.
That's a very big one. Biosecurity itself is a whole long topic. Maybe in just 1 or 2 sentences, can you?
Yeah, in this case precisely, it is important to ensure that only healthy birds are transported.
Simple.
So only healthy birds are engaged in sales and transportation. So if this can be done, this will probably reduce the spread of diseases along the transportation route.
Dr. Ladan.
This is where the bird.
Yes, I'm getting you, doctor. Thank you so much.
Dr. Ladan, quickly, we want to round up.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Dr. Lukman, Dr. Habiba, and the host, the co-host, and everyone here. I really appreciate, though I joined the forum late, but I really appreciated the presenter for his job done. I just want to chip in regard to the questions Dr. Habiba asked whether is there anything done with regard to biosecurity. Am I laudable?
Go ahead.
We can hear you.
I just want to chip in with a little information on the questions Dr. Habiba raised in respect to has there anything been done with regard to improvement of biosecurity in the live bird market. I want to talk on the government perspectives. I know during this project, a number of times, active surveillance has been carried out in the virtually all over the country, whereby samples has been collected on number of cases, on number of times, and been sent to MBRI, and some that were diagnosed actually positive or negative. There was a lot of improvement fumigants that were given, and some of the states has even were given privilege to have a new live bird market where we separated the abattoir aspect of it, the normal where the birds are being slaughtered and dressed, and live bird market itself. So with regard to what has been done so far on the government perspectives, I know something has been done, but I cannot come out and say it is enough. But something has been done, and with the development of the new Ministry of Livestock, I'm sure these are one of the priority areas where it will be given priority, and be rest assured, many things will come on that perspectives. Okay. So something has been done, and we are very, very active when it comes to report the surveillance. Active surveillance is quite going on. Whatever we had in the live bird market, it is being taken seriously. We always send agents and try to see what we can diagnose and see what can be done. But the point where we have issues is the issue of compensation. And I don't want to dive into that because Mr. Presenter has already talked about it. And no one can argue that there are a lot of issues driving the compensation issue. And I'm sure when it's sorted out, there will be a lot of improvement on reporting, and where farmers are hiding the issue, they will be gladly submit themselves so that they can be helped out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Suleiman.
Yeah, I think Dr. Suleiman has spoken from the government perspective a little. And yeah, a lot is happening, especially with the new Ministry of Livestock Development. Already, the low pathogenic viruses are also being considered for policy. And I think the first step is the surveillance that was conducted recently. So the outcome will determine the next step as far as, so of course, we'll say government is doing a lot. I saw a question on whether there are pathognomonic signs of infection. This question, again, raised the importance of diagnostics. It is very, very difficult. It is near impossible to separate this H9 infection with Newcastle, particularly. So the presentation is almost exactly the same. So only laboratory diagnosis will help to diagnose and differentiate.
Dr. Lukman, I'm afraid I will have to stop you. Our time is up.
Our time is almost up.
Yes, our time
there are
is
many
up.
questions. Ibokwe wants to talk, and then Dr. Yusuf Mbafo has not even finished. Fidelia.
They have all spoken.
Ibokwe, do you want to say anything?
Hello.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. I think because of time, I wish it's something we can have enough time to discuss using the whole day. Unfortunately, we're behind, time is not on our side. I would like to seize the opportunity to thank our hosts, the Bluebird TV, for giving me the opportunity to chair this presentation. And I also want to commend Dr. Lukman Muftau for a very good and informative presentation. And the audience too, we really sincerely appreciate your contributions. At this point, let me hand over back to the person that employed me. Well, so I've not been paid yet.
Yeah, I say it and shout it, whether anybody likes it or not. Wakawa Professor Aliyu is the first person to diagnose avian influenza of any form,
Easy,
be it low pathogenic, be it high pathogenic in Africa. He can't escape it. And anytime and anywhere in the country at official quarters, high or low, Wakawa is there to represent us. He merits it. But be it as it may, I think we should almost be rounding up. The only thing I have to add a bit as a poultry physician is that E. coli is highly opportunistic. I know it's a normal, it's a normal, will I say, it's a normal pathogen, it's a normal pathogen. Could we call it a pathogen? Or at the gastrointestinal tract. But when there's problem, as opportunistic pathogen, you see them everywhere, especially in poultry, especially in respiratory diseases. Unlike in any other species, but in avian species that in avian species that are highly opportunistic in respiratory diseases. I think that's the only thing I need to add here. Muftau, we'll call you up again. This is the beginning. Bafo, please, you're disturbing us. Oh, Jesus. You are disturbing us, please. So please, Bafo, you are disturbing us. Where can I get you and meet you?
Just mute her, sir. Go ahead and
I'm trying to get her and mute her.
Okay.
I'm trying to get her and mute her. Yes.
So I guess I'm supposed to be off too at this point.
Please, well, at this stage, I think I will get to the at this stage we are off the track, and then bye everybody. Anybody wants anything to say, I think we are calling it a quits at now. Any other thing is felicitation and what have you. I'm even looking for, yeah. It's
thank you very much.
So
My
please,
pleasure.
thank you.